Chapter 2061, Relax. Xiao Dongliang drank a sip of water. It was unknown if he was moistening his throat or preparing to speak. Swallow? Nan Nan started working to earn money and support the family before she was in her third year of junior high school. I'll not mention that Nan Nan's salary went to provide Zijin for her university education. After Zijin graduated, you obtained 20,000 yuan from Nan Nan monthly. Did Nan Nan give this 20,000 yuan to you alone? No, right? Nan Nan gave me half of it. For at least 10 years, that amounts to millions of yuan. You used it all to provide this and that for Zijin. Did I say anything about that? Does that mean you have swallowed all that money? After living in the same place and with people like Ding Ji and Xiao Zijin, Xiao Dongliang was naturally affected over time. Since Ding Ji and Xiao Zijin valued money so much that they wanted to take advantage of even family, upon hearing at the hospital that his elder daughter had 1.6 million yuan in her pocket but was only willing to fork out the money if his younger daughter had done so, Xiao Dongliang suddenly felt that it was right for him not to mention the 2,000 yuan he received monthly. When Xiao Dongliang first received this amount of money, he didn't give it to Ding Ji or even mentioned it to her, as he felt that everything Xiao Nan did in the first half of her life was given to Xiao Zijin, her sister. It was too tough on her and she shouldn't have been leading such a tough life. Based on the principle of accumulation, he helped Xiao Nan save this 2,000 yuan monthly. Perhaps one day when Xiao Nan needed money, he could return all the money to Xiao Nan so that she could have a house of her own. Xiao Dongliang knew it clearly that if Ding Ji knew about the existence of this sum of money, he would definitely not be able to help Xiao Nan save it. As such, he hid it from her. Thankfully, at that time, Xiao Nan didn't want to communicate with the Xiao family at all. She only knew that it was enough for her to transfer the money. As for the rest, that was the Xiao family's matter and had nothing to do with her. After expecting Xiao Nan not to communicate with Ding Ji and Xiao Zijin, it naturally became an easy task for Xiao Dongliang to save the 2,000 yuan monthly. When he later knew that Ding Ji was going to use this matter to file a lawsuit with Xiao Nan, Xiao Dongliang was not worried at all, as he knew that Xiao Nan had supported him and Ding Ji. Compared to 20 or 30,000 a month in the past, 2,000 yuan a month really wasn't a lot. However, Xiao Dongliang was no longer willing for Ding Ji to take this money anymore. Even if Ding Ji had found out about the current situation, he wasn't prepared to fork out the money. When Nan Nan was earning the most money in her 20s, she had given you so much money but you didn't even give a single cent to me. I think that from now on, I'll take all the money that Nan Nan provided for the both of us. You should have no objection to that, right? If you do, you can first give me half of the money you have taken alone for the past 20 years. After that, we can split this 2,000 yuan equally every month. Ding Ji's throat hurt when she heard Xiao Dongliang settling old scores. She didn't know what else to say. You did this deliberately. Old Xiao. What exactly do you mean by this? To let her take out all the money she had received over the past 20 years? Even if she sold herself, she wouldn't be able to get so much money. It's not as if you don't know how I spent the money. Yes, Xiao Nan provided this family quite a lot of money back then. Part of the money was used to buy back the courtyard. I didn't spend the rest of the money on myself. Didn't she use all of it to buy a house for Zijin? She had worried and sacrificed so much for this family. Really, she didn't leave anything behind for herself. Even if Xiao Nan provided more money, she rarely used it on herself. She used it all on this family. Speaking of this, Ding Ji felt that she had a completely clear conscience and could straighten her back to answer Xiao Dongliang. The problem was that Xiao Dongliang didn't buy into Ding Ji's words. I don't care where you spent the money Nan Nan gave you. You didn't spend it on yourself. Then, did you spend it on me? Regardless, you had indeed spent half the money Nan Nan gave us. If this isn't wrong, then we have nothing else to talk about. You spent so much money and effort to raise Zijin. Nan Nan had to drop out of junior high school to work and support herself. Even so, she is willing to provide us 2,000 yuan monthly as living expenses. You spent so much effort on Zijin. I believe that the money Zijin is willing to give monthly would be more than 2,000 yuan. When it came to this, Xiao Dongliang was no longer just targeting Ding Ji. He was targeting Xiao Zijin, their daughter, as well. Don't worry. Since I've already taken the 2,000 yuan that Nan Nan is providing monthly, even if Zijin provides an amount higher than that, I won't be greedy. It's all yours. She's the good daughter you have raised. All her filial piety should be left to you. You can just wait and enjoy the blessings. Everyone present could tell that Xiao Dongliang was saying things contrary to his thoughts. Counting on Xiao Zijin to be filial, Xiao Dongliang and Ding Ji might not be able to enjoy such treatment until the day they died. Waiting for her to pay for monthly living expenses? If Xiao Zijin could live her own life in the future and not make her parents worry so much about her, that would already be the biggest filial piety Xiao Zijin could do. As for the rest, it was best not to think about it. Even if one thought about it, he or she would just be overthinking. Upon hearing Xiao Dongliang's words, Ding Ji was shocked. Xiao Zijin's face turned pale. She couldn't wait to jump up from the sofa and leave this place immediately. If she had known that her parents were going to talk about this, how would she be willing to stay and listen? Her father's words were directed at her, hitting her in the face. She knew that Xiao Dongliang was saying things contrary to his thoughts and was belittling her for not being able to support her parents. Even though Xiao Zijin was angry, she didn't dare to say, "What's there to be scared of? I'll support the both of you." Xiao Zijin only wanted to rely on Xiao Dongliang and Ding Ji to get more benefits from Xiao Nan so that she could lead a more comfortable life. She had already thought about it. Xiao Zijin married well, but she still had to care for her family. Indeed, Xiao Nan didn't need to care about her anymore. However, as long as Xiao Nan didn't abandon their parents, there was actually no difference in Xiao Nan letting their parents or her lead a good life. Xiao Nan might let their parents eat fish and meat, but could their parents bear to let their elder daughter eat vegetables and tofu alone in this house? With such a plan in mind, how would Xiao Zijin have considered that Xiao Dongliang and Ding Ji were already old, and as their daughter, she should provide a decent amount of living expenses to her parents monthly without fail so that they could lead a more comfortable life? Chapter 2062, Chat. She was still looking forward to Xiao Nan being generous and giving Xiao Dongliang and Ding Ji more money each month. Even though it might not be 20 or 30,000 yuan like before, 10,000 yuan was still alright. If her mom was thriftier and spent 5,000 yuan on living expenses, she could take advantage of the remaining 5,000 yuan to buy clothes and cosmetic products. 5,000 yuan was a small amount, but it was still acceptable since it wasn't her money that she was spending. Xiao Zijin was still thinking about taking 5,000 yuan monthly from Xiao Nan as living expenses. Once Xiao Dongliang opened his mouth, he could still get her to fork out 5,000 yuan monthly to provide for them. As such, even if Xiao Dongliang's words almost angered Xiao Zijin to death and she felt that Xiao Dongliang was looking down on her, she gritted her teeth and lowered her head. She wasn't willing to say anything. No matter what, she would never agree to this request of her father. She wasn't willing to fork out 2,000 yuan monthly, let alone more. Furthermore, since her father was hospitalized until now, she had already forked out 60,000 yuan. Wasn't this enough? They actually wanted to get money from her again. Since when did her parents become blood-sucking vampires who only knew how to suck the blood of their children? Xiao Zijin took a deep breath. She couldn't be anxious, afraid, or timid. She had long known that her dad had changed. However, her mom hadn't changed. As long as her mom was around, she didn't believe that her mom would let her dad and Xiao Nan continue to bully her. Xiao Nan might not recognize her as a sister and likewise, but even her own dad didn't have her as a daughter in his heart. In that case, he didn't need to think of counting on her to support him in the future. Qiao Zijin used silence to counter the high hat that Qiao Dongliang put on her head, expressing that she wasn't accepting of such a situation and arrangement. The money was hers. She should arrange how she wanted to spend it. Even if Qiao Dongliang was her father, she wouldn't allow him to dictate how she spent her money. Whoever owned the money had the final say. If her father was so capable, he could make arrangements on how the money should be spent after he had earned it. Qiao Zijin displayed the attitude of silence was golden to silently resist him. How would Qiao Dongliang not know what to do with Qiao Zijin? See? Zijin is not saying anything. That means she silently agrees to what I've said. Let's do this then. Zijin is your greatest pride and glory in this lifetime. You've spent so much effort to nurture an outstanding university student. Nan Nan is a good-for-nothing and isn't lucky. Thankfully, my requirements are low. I don't ask for much. The 2,000 yuan Nan Nan gives me monthly is enough for me. You have higher expectations and Zijin is more outstanding than Nan Nan. Let Zijin provide for you in the future then. Don't worry. Even if Zijin gives you more money, I won't want a single cent of it. Let's split the children in such a manner. Nan Nan will provide for me while Zijin will provide for you. Nan Nan and Zijin definitely would not disagree to such an arrangement. What do you say? Qiao Zijin, who was mentioned by Qiao Dongliang, glared at him. She wanted to say out loud, who said that I've agreed to such an arrangement? After she left, she didn't have a job. She had nothing. In front of her parents, she was just a child. As a child, she should naturally be provided for by her parents. Why was it that she should be providing for her parents instead? Her parents weren't in their 70s or 80s. They were in their 60s and still mobile. Most of them were still working odd jobs outside and earning around 100 yuan a month. Her parents obviously had the ability to work to support themselves. However, instead of doing so, they still wanted her to provide for them. How was there such a good thing in this world? What she didn't understand more was why there were such elders in this world who wanted to burden their own children. Zijin disagreed. Ding Jiyi disagreed as well. Although she always said that Qiao Zijin was good, it had been so difficult for her to get money from Qiao Zijin in the past year. Not only did Qiao Nan give money more readily back then, but she also gave a lot more money. On the contrary, Qiao Zijin didn't give as much money as Qiao Nan. Her attitude was worse too. How could Ding Jiyi not feel this at all? Counting on Qiao Zijin to provide her more than 2,000 yuan monthly for living expenses? Then, she'd rather count on Qiao Nan's 2,000 yuan monthly for living expenses. In terms of money, Qiao Zijin was far behind and couldn't compare to Qiao Nan. For the sake of her own future, Ding Jiyi said, "No, I disagree. Who said that I'll be satisfied if I agree to this? We are still a couple living in the same house and leading our lives together. Why are we splitting it by yours and mine? As for the money before, let bygones be bygones. Why are you still pursuing this matter? If the money were in my hands, it's nothing for me to give you half of it. However, you know that I'm left with nothing. Let's spend Qiao Nan's 2,000 yuan together." As for Qiao Zijin, Ding Jiyi didn't have the intention to mention her at this moment. It was obvious that Qiao Nan should provide for the both of them. However, Qiao Zijin was still young. They didn't need her to provide for them and increase her burden. A couple. Qiao Dongliang thought it was ironic. This is the second thing I want to tell you today. It is only when I'm getting older that I realize we are not the same kind of people at all. We can't be together. There's no way for us to continue being a couple and leading our lives together. However, Zijin and Nan Nan are old now as well. It doesn't matter if we get a divorce or not. However, let's just split ways and lead our own lives. At this age, Qiao Dongliang didn't care about a divorce certificate. He just didn't want to live with Ding Jiyi anymore and wanted to split ways. The property deed for this house is in Nan Nan's hands. You know this as well. The three of us can still live together. Aside from the room, the kitchen and bathroom can be shared. However, we don't have to have our meals together. I'm already an adult. I won't starve myself to death. When you prepare meals in the future, there's no need to think about my share. I'll settle my meals myself. Xiao Dongliang wanted to draw the lines with Ding Jiyi clearly, so he let Xiao Zijin stay and listen. Otherwise, Xiao Zijin might claim that she wasn't present, didn't know about this matter at all, and then create trouble. Really, he was old. Before he died, he only wanted to live a peaceful life for a few years. Ding Jiyi was already good at making trouble. However, Xiao Zijin, his elder daughter, was the real headache. What could he do? Ding Jiyi treated Xiao Zijin as her precious. Even though she knew what kind of person Xiao Zijin was, she jumped in without hesitation and wasn't willing to turn back. Ding Jiyi was determined to walk into a dead end. He couldn't possibly accompany Ding Jiyi and die with her, right? Chapter 2063, Mistake. In the future, he would lead his peaceful life and Ding Jiyi would be together with her precious. Both of them would mind their own business. At the very least, he could lead a happy life for a few years. With a bang, Ding Jiyi knocked over the cup on the table. Old Xiao, what did you say? Her ears were buzzing and she didn't hear old Xiao's words clearly. Xiao Zijin was also shocked. She had heard a lot about young couples getting a divorce. It wasn't rare for middle-aged people like her to get a divorce as well. However, for elderlies at her parents' age to mention a divorce was extremely rare. Aside from her parents, Xiao Zijin had never heard of such a ridiculous thing from others before. Dad, are you joking? How old are the both of you now? Only young couples get a divorce. There's just a little misunderstanding between you and Mom. Don't create trouble. They were almost in their 70s. Why were they following the trend of divorce? Divorce wasn't something good. I'm not joking. I'm serious. You and your mom are too noisy. I'm having a headache. Since I can't lead such a life anymore, instead of arguing every day with your mom like rivals, it would be better for us to split ways before we reach that stage. To be honest, at our age, we would be able to live longer if we get angry less. After we are separated, both of us might be able to live a few years more. The more serious Xiao Dongliang was, the more panicked Ding Jiyi was. No, I'm not getting a divorce. I've already reached the age of a grandma. Why should I get a divorce? How can I continue to live after our divorce? Wouldn't I be laughed at to death? We have already gotten through so many years together. Why is it that we can't continue our lives together in the future? Haven't we always been doing well together? Doing well? Xiao Dongliang laughed. We get into a minor argument every 3 days and a major one every 5 days. You call that doing well? Are you complaining that I haven't been angry enough and that I have a long life? I've already said that I don't ask for much. I just want to lead a good life for a few more years. By insisting on not getting a divorce, you just want to anger me to death so that we don't even have to go through the divorce process, right? It could be said that Xiao Dongliang finally understood everything. Really, he couldn't continue leading such a life with Xiao Zijin and Ding Jiyi. Using words from the TV. He had different worldviews from this mother-daughter pair. In ancient times, there was the saying there is little common ground for understanding between persons of differing principles. If they couldn't lead a life together, it was better to split ways. From the time Jiaonan left until she got married, in this short 1 year, without Jiaonan blindly sacrificing herself for this family was already no longer like a family. Every day was full of arguments and scoldings. Xiao Dongliang had had enough. He was really worried that if he continued to live in such an environment, his lifespan was going to be shortened. Ding Jiyi was angry but she didn't know what to do with Xiao Dongliang. I'll stop arguing with you in the future. Will that do? No, Xiao Dongliang insisted. You can't do it, and neither can I. You know why we have been arguing. I wish you were more of a mom to Nan Nan. You can't wait for me to only treat Zijin as a birth daughter and Nan Nan as an adopted child so that I would do whatever I can to force Nan Nan to push Zijin up. Even if Nan Nan is leading a bad life, Zijin has to lead a good life. I can't do this, let alone agree with it. Both of us would still argue and get into fierce quarrels. Xiao Dongliang kept saying that he couldn't do this, which completely blocked Ding Jiyi's words of "you can just try to do what I say." Ding Jiyi couldn't do anything now that her words were blocked. She could only insist. Since the day I married into the Qiao family, I'm a member of the Qiao family. I'm not going to divorce you. Until the day I die, I'll be your wife and the Qiao family's daughter-in-law. Ding Jiyi was worried that once she agreed to a divorce with Xiao Dongliang, she wouldn't be able to lie in the same grave as Xiao Dongliang when she died and would end up as a lonely ghost. No matter what other people said, Ding Jiyi strongly believed in this. When she ran out of her family to marry Xiao Dongliang back then, the Ding family had said that from the moment she left the Ding family's house, Ding Jiyi wouldn't be part of the Ding family anymore. When Ding Jiyi died in the future, she would have nothing to do with the Ding family. When the Ding family became ruthless, they were really ruthless and hard-hearted. When the Ding family didn't recognize Ding Jiyi, Xiao Dongliang was still a platoon leader in the army. Although they knew that Xiao Dongliang was a platoon leader, Ding Jiyi was the wife of a platoon leader, and their family could be considered to be a military family. The Ding family didn't even recognize Ding Jiyi. How would they have admitted that Xiao Dongliang was their son-in-law? Especially when Xiao Dongliang retired from the army after Xiao Nan's birth, the Ding family mocked Ding Jiyi for losing the family line and she deserved not to have a son. It had been so many years. Since then, the Ding family had never appeared again. However, Ding Jiyi's memories of these incidents didn't diminish over time. Ding Jiyi wholeheartedly nurtured Xiao Zijin into a university student and let her marry Chen Jun. That was because she hoped to prove to the Ding family that it was the Ding family's biggest mistake to not have recognized her as a daughter. See? Her daughter was a university student and her son-in-law was an official. If the Ding family wanted to lead a good life, they had to rely on Ding Jiyi, their daughter. So what if she couldn't give birth to a son and gave birth to two daughters instead? The daughter she gave birth to was more successful than a son. She depended on Xiao Zijin, her daughter, to become the mother-in-law of a police commissioner. If the Ding family were capable, they could depend on their son and be in the limelight and show her. Did they do that? Nobody knew that when Xiao Zijin married Chen Jun and he was in his heyday, although Ding Jiyi didn't say it, she had always been waiting for the Ding family to take the initiative and talk to her. It was only then did Ding Jiyi realize how many people were left in her family. Her father was long gone. However, her mother was still alive at this age. Ding Jiyi's biggest misgiving was with her mother. Her mother was the one who decided to sell her so that her two younger brothers could have a change of relatives. It was all her mother's idea to not recognize her as a daughter and for her to no longer be a part of the Ding family. Ding Jiyi could still remember how ruthless her mother was and how harsh her words were. The Ding family were farmers all their lives. Didn't her mom have two sons and now grandsons? Did she want to find a good job for her sons? Did she want her grandsons to have a chance to succeed? Sure, come and find her. Beg her and tell her that she was blinded to have done everything that she had back then. In the Ding family, only she, Ding Jiyi, was the most promising. Chapter 2064, Goosebumps. She was her mom's biological child, after all. If her mother were to beg her, she would have no choice but to agree. Ding Jiyi had not inherited this positive quality from the Ding family. Ding Jiyi had completely inherited her biological mother's ruthlessness, but it seemed as though she had not gotten a single bit of that boldness and guts that Mother Ding had had. Everyone in the village knew that the Ding family had raised a rebellious daughter. Upon knowing that Ding Jiyi had escaped from her arranged marriage and found herself a soldier as a husband, many villagers had advised the Ding family to forget about it since it was her own biological daughter after all. Would they really disown their daughter after raising her for so many years? Besides, it did not seem all that bad having a soldier as a son-in-law. Perhaps, their elder son-in-law could even take care of the Ding family's son in the future. That way, Mother Ding would still be able to achieve her goal in the end. Even after all that persuasion, Mother Ding refused to back down and disowned her daughter, Ding Jiyi. She announced that Ding Jiyi's life had nothing to do with her from then on. A heartless daughter like Ding Jiyi would only ruin her life in the future. Ding Jiyi might look as though she was leading a good life at the moment, but once Ding Jiyi were to be down on luck, it would definitely be her two sons being at a disadvantage and suffering if they were to rely on Ding Jiyi. Without her daughter, she still had to care for her sons and grandson. Mother Ding had thoroughly considered her daughters and sons' marriages. It was her own biological daughter whom she had given birth to, after all. It was impossible for her to make her daughter give up everything for the sake of her sons. Although the man that Mother Ding had found was slightly older, he was capable of supporting a family. Besides, it was exactly because that man had been poor in his early days that he had been unable to get married. He had intended on honing his skills and earning enough money before getting married. Mother Ding had found out all about that man's personality and temper as well. She knew her own daughter well and knew that her daughter, Ding Ji, only appeared a little smart on the surface but was actually a fool. Not only did she think she was intelligent, but she always did foolish things and had a fiery temper. If she did not find her daughter a man who earned well and had a good temper, her daughter would never lead a good life after marriage. If she truly wanted to sell her daughter off to support her sons, Ding Ji would have been sold 10 times over. Ding Ji was not smart, but she did have a decent face, one that was enough to deceive others into believing that she was a witty young lady. It would be easy to sell her daughter off, but Mother Ding had always considered Ding Ji's happiness. That was why she had put her daughter's marriage off until finding the suitable one. Mother Ding had a fair temper, but it was true that she was biased toward her two sons. It had not been easy for her to decide to treat Ding Ji fairly and justly this once, hoping that Ding Ji would lead a good life after marriage. But who would have known that Ding Ji would waste all of Mother Ding's efforts? At the time that Ding Ji had gotten married to Jiao Dongliang, it had only been just over a decade since the civil war had ended. Ding Ji might not have remembered such a period of history, but everyone in Mother Ding's generation would never forget it. If Ding Ji had run away from her family and outed her family in that manner in those days, Mother Ding would have been killed. Besides, Ding Ji had coincidentally run into Old Li. Seeing that Old Li was a soldier, Mother Ding had nightmares of that period of history and was almost frightened to death. Even a year after getting married to Jiao Dongliang and giving birth to Jiao Zijin, Ding Ji had never gone to the Ding family's house to create any trouble for Mother Ding. Because she had not criticized Mother Ding for arranging her marriage, Mother Ding was finally able to relieve herself of those nightmares. After an entire year's worth of torture, Mother Ding could not care less about a platoon leader as a son-in-law and hated her daughter, Ding Ji, from the bottom of her heart. Mothers did not develop enmity with their daughters overnight. In those 10 years, even sons dared to report their fathers to the authorities and cut all ties with their parents. Mother Ding had seen plenty of such cases at that time. As such, Mother Ding was clear that it was possible for children to be that heartless and to abandon their parents entirely. In fact, these wretched children would pave an entire road from their parents' blood for themselves if they could. After Ding Ji got married to Jiao Dongliang through Old Li, Mother Ding always had such a feeling every time she thought about her daughter, Ding Ji. Of course, those mother-daughter relationships were nothing in the face of life and death. There was nothing more important than one's own life, after all. The more stubborn Mother Ding was, the more Ding Ji was unable to let the matter go. Knowing that her mother was still alive and that her brothers had become grandfathers, Ding Ji was reluctant to take the matter lying down. It seemed as though she was still trying to prove to the Ding family that she had done well and was even waiting for the Ding family to come apologizing to her, begging for her forgiveness. The more she cared about it, the more afraid she got. Since the Ding family had not admitted their mistake to her and acknowledged her as part of the family again, she could not afford to get divorced from Xiao Dongliang. Otherwise, she would be a homeless ghost with nowhere to go once she died. Xiao Dongliang had no idea that Ding Jiyi had started to think about the Ding family at the mention of a divorce. Ding Jiyi had never once mentioned the Ding family to him. As such, Xiao Dongliang had no understanding of the Ding family at all. There were a few times he had asked Ding Jiyi if they should visit the Ding family since they had gotten married, after all. At the very most, he would accompany Ding Jiyi to apologize to the Ding family. They could not possibly let the Ding family disown Ding Jiyi, right? However, every one of Xiao Dongliang's considerate gestures was refused by Ding Jiyi, who had already made up her mind never to consider herself as part of the Ding family unless they were to apologize to her and admit their mistakes. She had already gotten married. If she had lived in the past, she would already have changed her name from Ding Jiyi to Xiao Jiyi. Although Ding Jiyi refused to do so, Xiao Dongliang had gone to visit the Ding family behind her back. Yet, Xiao Dongliang had always been chased out of the Ding family's house without fail. At that time, Xiao Dongliang had still been a soldier and had not even had much time to spend with Ding Jiyi. As such, there was even less time for him to try his luck with the Ding family. Because of Ding Jiyi and the Ding family's stubbornness, Xiao Dongliang eventually gave up trying to reconcile Ding Jiyi with her family. Since Ding Jiyi never made any mention of her family, Xiao Dongliang had almost forgotten about their existence. Now, Xiao Dongliang was more willing to have a conversation with Ding Jiyi. Chapter 2065, Judging Others by Oneself. Didn't I say that it's best if you are willing to get a divorce? It's fine even if you aren't willing. It's nothing more than a certificate. There's nothing much to it. From today on, we'll just live our separate lives. When you eat in the future, you don't have to prepare my portion. Since we're splitting up, don't come into my room in the future. I'm going to get the lock changed. Of course, I won't enter your room either. If not for the fact that he did not have much money and was unwilling to waste his money, Xiao Dongliang would have rented an apartment to live alone. It would be difficult to draw clear lines about certain things while living together. But Xiao Dongliang had no choice but to settle for this since he could not rent an apartment outside. But perhaps, he might be less troubled if he could keep his distance from Ding Jiyi and Xiao Zijin. Xiao Dongliang knew that there was something wrong with his elder daughter's worldviews and ideas, but there was nothing he could do since Xiao Zijin herself was reluctant to change. Everyone had feelings, and because he had tried in vain to save his elder daughter time and again, Xiao Dongliang was utterly exhausted. His grandson was blessed in his own way while his elder daughter's greatest blessing was also her greatest sorrow, and that was having such a foolish mother like Ding Jiyi, who brought her astray. To Xiao Dongliang, who did not even know how long more he would be able to live, he wanted nothing more than to be able to lead a worry-free life in his remaining years. Had he not done the same 2 decades earlier? He had not cared about Nan Nan at that time. Now, he was simply returning to the same state by not caring about Zijin. Xiao Dongliang had already been such a father to Xiao Nan for almost 40 years. Now, he was simply being such a father to Xiao Zijin. Was that hard? No, not at all. It was a familiar path to him. Look at the time. It's time for me to have my meal. You two can do whatever you want. Xiao Dongliang made good of his words and stuck to what he had said. He had already made preparations for his own dinner. Since today was the day of the court hearing, he knew that he would only be able to hide the matter of Xiao Nan giving the Xiao family an allowance of 2,000 yuan up until today. The card Xiao Nan had given him was in his possession, and he had never once considered handing it over to Ding Jiyi. He was prepared to prove to Ding Jiyi and Xiao Zijin just how serious he was this time through his actions. It was the end of August, and it was sweltering hot. Xiao Dongliang had not prepared much himself and dared not even use too much rice. He simply took out a portion just sufficient to fill himself. Nothing more, and nothing less. Xiao Dongliang had not measured his portion out well, but at the very least, the amount that he had left behind was insufficient for either Ding Ji or Qiao Zijin. Since he had already drawn such a clear line by using a separate pot, Qiao Zijin and Ding Ji could no longer afford to believe that Qiao Dongliang was fooling around. Seeing that Qiao Dongliang cared only about himself, not caring about the other two people in the house, Qiao Zijin and Ding Ji were stunned and speechless upon looking at the pathetic amount of rice left in the pot. Even though Qiao Zijin was on a diet, she still ate more than the amount that had been left over. Qiao Dongliang's attitude almost drove Ding Ji and Qiao Zijin crazy. Qiao Zijin could not help but tug at her own hair. "Mom, is my dad crazy? How could he do something like that? He wants to get a divorce from you. Does that also mean that he intends to disown me and wants to sever all ties with me?" After being a daughter in the Qiao family for 43 years, this was the first time Qiao Zijin had ever been deprived of food. This was as hard a blow as Ding Ji had received when Qiao Dongliang had brought up the topic of a divorce. Ding Ji only felt that her life was too torturous. "How would I know what's going on with your dad? It's like he's been bewitched. Your dad would never have been like that in the past. I haven't even settled the accounts with him for taking more than 20,000 yuan for himself, and now, he wants to get a divorce and live separate lives. He had better not bring up the past about when they had had more money again. The past was the past and the present was the present. No matter how much money they had had in the past, they did not have anything left now." But that did not mean that Ding Ji forgot about the 1.5 million yuan in Qiao Zijin's pockets. However, she knew that it would be a struggle to force Qiao Zijin to hand over even the slightest bit of that money. She could not even imagine the fuss Qiao Zijin would kick up if she were to ask Qiao Zijin to hand over the entire sum of money. "Zijin, I've done so much in my whole life for you. Others may not understand why your dad scolded me just now, but you should. Tell me. Didn't I spend all the money I took from Jiaonan on you? You can't leave me in the lurch now that your dad wants to settle these old accounts with me. I'm already so advanced in age. If I were to get a divorce from your dad at this age, I'll never be able to live it down." Qiao Zijin glanced at Ding Ji carefully. "Mom, how do you want me to help you? You know very well that I'm not very capable either. There's nothing much I can help you with." "You can. Of course, you can." Judging others by oneself, Ding Ji loved money and placed the most importance on it. She had wanted to get even with Qiao Dongliang simply because of the 20,000 yuan in the first place. She did not think of it as a bad thing that Qiao Dongliang had started to care more about money. At the very least, Qiao Dongliang would no longer stand in her way when she asked Jiaonan for money in the future. At that time, she would no longer need to be afraid of Jiaonan being disobedient and refusing to hand money over since they stood on the same side. Jiaonan would have to make up for what she had not handed over in the past year, in addition to what she was obliged to give them. "I guess your dad has gotten afraid since he nearly had no money for his treatment the previous time he was hospitalized. You're still young, so you might not understand your dad's worry. It's understandable for people our age to want some money for our funeral arrangements. Only then will we feel secure. I won't say anything more. Why don't you take out 200,000 to appease your dad? Perhaps, with this 200,000, Jiaonan will no longer be able to deceive your dad in the future. Then, your dad will understand who treats him the most sincerely amongst the two of them." She believed that old Jiao would no longer want to separate from her with that 200,000 yuan. "Zijin, don't be stingy about this. Think about it. You weren't the one who worked hard to earn that 1 million yuan in the bank. It was Jiaonan's money. So, you won't be giving your dad your own money. It's Jiaonan's money. If you think about it in that way, you won't feel so bad about it anymore." The last time Qiao Zijin had withdrawn 50,000 yuan for Qiao Dongliang's treatment, she had made a fuss about it and had even dragged Jiaonan into the picture. Jiaonan had paid her fair share before Qiao Zijin was finally willing to fork out her share reluctantly after a long delay. Chapter 2066, Delivery. This time, Qiao Zijin would be the only one forking out 200,000 yuan with no one else to share that burden with her. Ding Jiyi could imagine how much pain Qiao Zijin was in because of that 200,000 yuan. Thus, Ding Jiyi tried to act smart by comforting Qiao Zijin with such words in hope of making Qiao Zijin feel better. How was she to know that these words could not comfort Qiao Zijin and were, in fact, a slap to Qiao Zijin's face? Zijin, think about it. Don't you think it's true? You're using Qiao Nan's money to coax your dad. In the end, you'll be the filial daughter in your dad's eyes, not Qiao Nan. You won't lose out by giving him 200,000. Qiao Zijin would be the only one benefiting after giving away Qiao Nan's money. No matter how Ding Jiyi thought about it, Qiao Zijin would be on the winning end. There was no need for Qiao Zijin to be upset over this matter. While Ding Jiyi felt this way, Qiao Zijin did not. The more Ding Jiyi said, the worse Qiao Zijin's expression became. Mom, you're looking down on me because I'm not as capable as Qiao Nan and can't earn as much as she does. The only property I had was bought using Qiao Nan's money as well. Mom, you're just like Dad. You're looking down on me and only thinking about Qiao Nan. She could not care less about who had paid for the house. All she knew was that the property deed had been registered under her name. Since the property belonged to her alone, she was naturally the only one who would receive the proceeds from the sale. That sum of money had nothing to do with anyone else. Why should she take out 200,000 yuan to appease her father so that he would not get a divorce from her mother? Had her dad not said that it did not matter whether they got a divorce or not? All he wanted was for them to live separate lives. Apart from some inconveniences during mealtimes, it was enough for her that her parents were still married on the surface. Such a situation would only have an impact on her mom. It did not affect her at all. As such, there was no reason for her to fork out money for her mom to coax her dad. Did she have too much money lying around that she had to burn this sum of money? How could I do that? Ding Jiyi shook her head. You're maligning me. How could Qiao Nan be more capable than you in my mind? Can that wretched girl even compare to you? It seems that she does have some ability in finding men apart from earning money. But apart from that, she can't compare to you in every other way. Qiao Zijin had no way of retorting Ding Jiyi and had the urge to end the conversation at that. As a woman, how capable could she really be? Leaving aside how well one did in school, a woman's performance in society was determined by how capable her children were, or how high her husband's position and pay were. Qiao Nan had won on both of these accounts. Ding Jiyi said that Qiao Zijin was better than Qiao Nan in these two ways. Qiao Zijin wanted to ask Ding Jiyi what other ways a woman could be better in otherwise. In the end, was her mother trying to praise her, or was she actually putting her down? What made Qiao Zijin most frustrated was that she knew that it was likely the former case. Her mom probably meant to praise her, but it was better to do without Ding Jiyi's praises. Perhaps, she could have felt good without those words. Those words were practically a slap in her face. Qiao Zijin took a deep breath in. Mom, stop with your nonsense. I don't think that Dad will decide not to get a divorce just because of 200,000 yuan. I think Dad is serious this time. How would you know if you don't even try? What if your dad decides not to make a fuss after you give him 200,000? Don't you want to be a filial child in your dad's eyes? Don't you want your dad to be on your side? Or do you mean that you're unwilling to spend 200,000 for peace between your dad and me? At this, Ding Jiyi flared up. It did not matter whether it worked or not. They had to give it a try. How would they know if it would be effective if they did not even give it a try? She had made so many sacrifices for her daughter, Qiao Zijin, and to be honest, old Qiao had flipped at her because he felt that she had treated Zijin too well by giving Zijin all of Qiao Nan's money. If she had not been so biased toward Zijin and had left a little of that money for old Qiao, he would never have made such a fuss in the first place. In fact, if she had done just that, Zijin would probably be just as happy now. So, was Zijin trying to prove to her that she had been wrong in doing that? Of course, Qiao Zijin was absolutely serious about her reluctance. Qiao Zijin's face turned black, and she headed directly for her room. Anyway, there was no way she would be able to persuade her mom out of this, but neither was she willing to fork out such a huge sum of money at once. As such, there was no point in continuing the conversation. Her mom had never been one to lose her temper at her. After a while, her mom would definitely calm down. Then, upon sensing her persistence about the matter, her mom would never make mention of the 200,000 yuan ever again. Ding Jiyi was in a hurry to salvage her relationship with her husband, and now, the only one whom she could rely on, her elder daughter, had turned her back on her and was now ignoring her. In that moment, Ding Jiyi, who had been left alone, felt like a fool. She was going to be blamed either way. She had always been faithful to her husband, Qiao Dongliang, and had been nothing but good toward her daughter, Qiao Zijin. As vicious as she was toward Qiao Nan, she still did not think that it was justified for Qiao Nan to ignore her. That would be unfilial, and Qiao Nan would definitely be punished by the heavens for that. Naturally, her conscience was clear toward these two people. As such, one could only imagine how Ding Jiyi was feeling at this moment. Because of this provocation, one person's anger had turned into three people's anger. Apart from Qiao Dongliang, who had had his fill and was about to fall asleep, Qiao Zijin and Ding Jiyi could not calm their pounding hearts down. Ding Jiyi had been enraged by Qiao Zijin and Qiao Dongliang, while Qiao Zijin was simply too hungry to sleep. With no other choice, Qiao Zijin dialed for delivery in the middle of the night. Even if no one made her a meal, there was no way she was going to let herself starve to death. Of course, Qiao Zijin had only ordered her own portion and had not bothered about Ding Jiyi, who was in the same boat. Ding Jiyi was old and easily awoken. Besides, her anger meant that she had already had a hard time falling asleep. Hearing someone approaching with takeout, Ding Jiyi's expectations grew, thinking that her daughter had been so concerned about her, knowing that she had not eaten. Chapter 2067, Faint. She hoped that Qiao Zijin remembered that her mother had not eaten anything that night and was starving. That was why she had bought a good meal to coax her. As long as Qiao Zijin apologized to her and tried to appease her, she would not take issue with whatever happened earlier in the living room. She would continue pampering Zijin as she had done in the past. Unfortunately, the delivery man had left for more than 10 minutes, yet she was still left in her small room, waiting for Qiao Zijin to knock on the door. Then, 10 minutes later, Ding Jiyi heard Qiao Zijin's door open again, followed by something being thrown on the floor. In that instant, Ding Jiyi understood everything. Qiao Zijin had spent 20 minutes finishing the meal she had bought and had thrown the empty boxes out. Qiao Zijin had not even remembered about her own mother. Perhaps it was due to her hunger that Ding Jiyi had not gotten any sleep that night. Her eyes remained open the entire night as thoughts ran through her mind. The next day, Ding Jiyi had not calmed down as Qiao Zijin had anticipated. Instead, the atmosphere in the Qiao family became rather strange. Ouch! Qiao Nan, who was far away in the capital, had accidentally cut the back of her hand on a page of a book. Because it was a new book that had thin pages, a cut appeared on Qiao Nan's hand. Be careful! Seeing the blood on Qiao Nan's hand, Miao Jing immediately instructed the auntie to bring some medication over for Qiao Nan. Qiao Nan shook her head. There's no need for that. It's such a small cut. I won't even need a plaster for that. Qiao Nan had never been so pampered in her entire life. Nan, have you been feeling unwell lately? Miao Jing still insisted on giving some simple first aid to Qiao Nan. I think that you haven't been looking too well lately. Besides, you look like you've lost weight. Have you weighed yourself? I think so too. It was not just Miao Jing. Even the family's auntie joined in. Nan, don't learn from those young ladies by going on a diet. You're not fat at all. In fact, you can afford to gain some weight. It's not healthy for you to be on a diet. When her own daughter had wanted to go on a diet, she had immediately slapped her daughter on the back until her daughter no longer dared to make mention of diet anymore. Xiao Nan laughed. What diet? Just as the auntie said, she was not fat to begin with. In fact, she was quite a lot slimmer than she was in her dream. But have I really lost weight? Xiao Nan had not even noticed a decrease in her weight. It was normal for other families to have a weighing scale at home. Miaojing was already advanced in age, and even in her younger days, she had never obsessed over her weight. At her age now, she was even less so concerned about it. Even with another woman in the house, that woman seemed to share the same personality as Miaojing and Zihua, who never cared about changes in their weights. Xiao Nan had never weighed herself and was not one to obsess over her appearance in a mirror. As such, Xiao Nan truly had no idea whether she had lost any weight, but she could feel it. That can't be true. I don't think I've lost any weight. My pants feel the same as before. Xiao Nan was too embarrassed to mention that her pants felt fitting at her waist, but it seemed as though they had gotten tighter below her waist. As such, Xiao Nan had reason to suspect that she had actually gained weight now that her mother-in-law and the auntie were talking about how she had lost weight. Have you been in an air-conditioned environment for too long? I saw on the television that there's such a thing as an air conditioning disease. It's freezing cold indoors but sweltering hot outside. Nan, I'll cook some nourishing soup for you. It was hard work to be a student. She had to be nourished. Miaojing agreed. Yes, you should be nourished. Auntie, get a good old hen and remember to get an old one, not a young one. It's more nourishing. All right. I'll get it tomorrow. I'll get a countryside free-range hen. Free-range chickens were raised on better feed. Seeing everyone being so concerned about her, Xiao Nan touched her own face. Does my complexion really look that bad? There was no way she could have gotten that air conditioning disease. Every time she entered the classroom, she would not only choose a seat away from the air conditioning, but she would even put on a thick sweater and wear pants instead of a skirt. Xiao Nan paid quite a lot of attention to that. Yes, you've gotten paler. Haven't you noticed? Miaojing took Xiao Nan's hand into her own and her brows furrowed into a frown. Your hand seems even warmer than mine. Have you really gotten the air conditioning disease without your own knowledge? Miaojing's anxiety affected Xiao Nan as well, and Xiao Nan was helpless. I don't know. The weather had been brutally hot these days because of the warm temperatures of September. She did feel that it was warm, but it was only normal for one to feel that way. I haven't felt unwell these days except for feeling a little faint. But given the sweltering weather, was it not normal for one to feel faint and suffocated at times? Mom, don't worry about me. Really. I'm in the pink of health. I spend quite a lot of time in school, but I spend quite a lot of time at home too. Look at me. I eat well and I even take naps in the afternoon. There can't be anything wrong with my body. If you're healthy, why would you feel faint? Miaojing disagreed. Why don't we visit the hospital? Then, they would see if they could treat her air conditioning disease. Visiting the hospital? That was too excessive. Don't, Mom. It's normal for that to happen in summer. I don't think I'm sick. It's probably just due to the heat, or because I haven't fully woken up from my nap. Such a symptom was common in summer. Thinking about the previous year's June, it had been sweltering as well, and she had even been running around to borrow money for Qiao Zijian's treatment. She had not felt faint then. Now, she had gotten married to Brother Zai and was living a good life. She was being pampered, yet she often felt as though she could never get enough sleep. As she stood by the side listening to the conversation between the two of them, the auntie's eyes glimmered in joy. Nan, excuse me for asking, but have you finished those sanitary napkins that I bought for you in June? Do you have any preferences? Shall I get more for you? The auntie was the clearest about how many sanitary napkins she had bought. Chapter 2068, It seems like it. She felt that it was better to use those products fresh. As such, she did not purchase too many of them and only bought a 2-month supply. She had no idea when Xiao Nan's period started. That was why she had only thought about it now that September was approaching. Xiao Nan should have run out of the products that she had purchased, right? The auntie was slightly older than Xiao Nan and much younger than Miao Jing. As such, the auntie still experienced her period every month. As for Miao Jing, that had not happened in almost 2 decades. This meant that the auntie was used to not needing to prepare such products for anyone else in the family. That was why this had completely slipped her mind after Xiao Nan had joined the family. Now, she would have to pay more attention to this area. It did not matter if she did not remember it. But it did not make sense for Xiao Nan herself not to remember it. If she had indeed finished that supply, Xiao Nan would probably have purchased some more for herself. Yet, the auntie had not seen Xiao Nan purchase any for herself even after all this time. Oh, that! I still have them. A lot of them, Xiao Nan replied to the auntie without hesitation. She knew that the auntie was the one who stocked up on any necessities in their family. As such, she simply thought that the auntie was asking about that to understand what she needed to purchase. I still have quite a few of them in my bathroom. I don't really use them. These 3 months had passed in such a blur that Xiao Nan had not even noticed that her period had not come in those 3 months. Because she was juggling so many courses, signed up for an examination, and had to revise for so many different things, Xiao Nan had even needed to stay up through the night at times. Although Xiao Nan yearned for knowledge, she had left the school setting more than 2 decades ago. Now, pouring her whole heart and soul into learning was not difficult, but being as efficient as she had been when she was younger was impossible. In that case, she had to put in even more effort to make up for her regrets. Xiao Nan already had the habit of neglecting herself due to her studies. Because her studies were even more difficult in reality than they had been in her dream, Xiao Nan was naturally even more devoted so as to not make any mistakes. In the 3 months of marriage to Zai Sheng after returning to the capital, Xiao Nan had not even had time to think about her husband apart from those few minutes before sleeping, much less remember which day her period was supposed to start. Xiao Nan was the one who had asked for Zai Sheng's number, but Zai Sheng was the one waiting for Xiao Nan to call him. Who would have known that Xiao Nan would be so busy that she would not even have any spare time to call him? Apart from her studies, there was nothing else that she needed Zai Sheng to make decisions on. Since Zai Sheng was already busy in the military, there was no need for her to add to his troubles by calling him. It would be a joke to ask a woman, who could not even care about her husband, how many times she had her period in the last 3 months or how much supply of sanitary pads she had left. If not for the fact that Xiao Nan spent some time studying at home and saw the sanitary napkins every time she used the toilet, Xiao Nan might very well have forgotten about its existence, less say the quantity she had left. There were some things that seemed crystal clear once one thought about them. Xiao Nan looked down at her stomach blankly. Her body was much weaker now than it had been in her dream, but it was still normal. Her period did come every time and she did not experience extreme pain like others did when theirs came. Based on that, there were only 2 possible reasons why her period had become irregular. Firstly, there was something majorly wrong with her body and she had contracted a severe illness. Secondly, it still concerned a person's life. The difference was that it was not that she was going to die. Quite on the contrary, there was a new life within her. Have you really not used it? You've not had your period even once in the 3 months you've been in the capital. The auntie was highly suspicious upon hearing that. Hey? Hey? Miao Jing blinked blankly. Not understanding the conversation between Xiao Nan and the auntie. She was someone who had already undergone menopause 20 years ago, after all. But in no time, Miao Jing caught on. Nan, have you really not gotten your period? In an instant, Miao Jing's eyes widened as wide as saucers as she stared at Xiao Nan's stomach. I think so, Xiao Nan answered in a daze. When the auntie and her mother-in-law had asked if she was feeling unwell earlier, Xiao Nan had answered that the weather had been too hot and that she had been feeling a little faint. Now, Xiao Nan's eyes rolled upward as her whole body weakened and fell limply onto the sofa. She had fainted for real. Zai Sheng had not informed anyone in the family that he was returning, planning on giving his wife a surprise by making a sudden appearance, just like those young soldiers did. What caught Zai Sheng off guard was his mom frantically calling his wife's name before he could even make his presence known. Zai Sheng's expression sank and he could not care less about giving anyone a surprise anymore. He rushed into the house with his shoes still on. What's wrong with Nan Nan? Zai Sheng, you're back? That's just as well. Nan Nan just fainted. Hurry and send her to the hospital. Nan Nan could be pregnant. At this time, nothing could happen to Nan Nan or the child. In reality, the tall and muscular Zai Sheng had already seen Xiao Nan lying limply on the sofa as he walked over. Without needing Miao Jing's instructions, he carried Xiao Nan into his arms immediately. Mom, stay at home. Auntie, follow me to the hospital. Because Xiao Nan had fainted, Zai Sheng was afraid that he would not be able to take care of Xiao Nan alone and thus asked the auntie to come along. No way. I'm Nan Nan's mother-in-law. I have to go. She would never be able to rest assured if she did not go along with them. Even if she were to stay at home, her heart would be with Nan Nan in the hospital. She had to personally hear from the doctor about Nan Nan's condition and whether she was indeed pregnant. More importantly, Miao Jing insisted that she needed to hear the good news immediately if she were truly to become a grandmother. Zai Sheng did not know why his mom was being so insistent. If he had not been in a hurry to send Xiao Nan to the hospital, he would have reasoned it out with his mom. Considering his mother's age, would it not be better and more helpful for her to remain at home? Chapter 2069, Back. It was sweltering and the heat was suffocating. If an elderly person were to tag along out of concern, would she not only be adding to their problems if she were to fall ill as well? It was unfortunate that Zai Sheng was in too much of a hurry to explain this truth to Miao Jing. Thankfully, he had the auntie to depend on. If anything were to happen to his mom, the auntie could help take care of his mom instead of Nan Nan. There would probably not be any major problems. As such, Zai Sheng, who had just returned from the military and had not even had the chance to quench his thirst or wash his face, left the house in a hurry once again. Receiving the news that his son had returned from the military, Zai Yai returned home from his chess game at his old friend's house. However, what greeted him was not a scene of a family reunion but an eerily quiet home. Even the auntie was not around. He was all alone. Zai Yai frowned. What was going on? Where was everyone? They could not possibly have gone out to celebrate without him, right? Since he could not think of an answer, he decided not to waste any more effort and simply made a phone call. Hello, where are all of you? In the hospital? Who's sick? Are you feeling unwell? That could not be right. He had not heard Miao Miao complaining about being unwell these days, but Miao Miao had said that their daughter-in-law was looking rather pale lately. Is it Nan Nan? Give me a second. The doctor's out. I'll talk to you soon. Miao Jing was anxious to receive the results from the doctor. Because she had been waiting for the doctor earlier, she had picked up the phone call from Zai Yai since she was afraid he would be worried. Now that the results were out, Miao Jing had eyes for only her tender and chubby grandson. She had no time to care about her husband, Zai Yai, at all. With that, she rushed up to the doctor. Doctor, what's happened to our Nan Nan? Congratulations! She's pregnant. It's been almost 14 weeks, the doctor was just about to ask a routine question about whether the patient had undergone any prenatal checkup, but thinking about how the family seemed to have just found out about the pregnancy, he skipped that question. Because the first trimester is over, the patient's and child's situations are a little more stable now. But I did notice that the patient is a little older than average. Even though the first trimester is over, it's best that her family members pay more attention to her. Pregnancy is harder on the patient's body because of her age, so it'll be better for the patient and the child if she remains in good health. The doctor reminded the patient and her family of a list of things to take note of, especially since Xiaonan was pregnant at this age. He spent a good amount of time instructing the patient on how to ensure balanced nutrition and health of the mother and child. He had no other choice. He had to pay careful attention to this patient. He might not have recognized that pregnant lady, but he recognized the soldier who had sent the patient in. He had seen him on television before. From his posture, the doctor knew straight away that that soldier had close ties to that pregnant lady. Besides, the hospital director had already instructed him to pay careful attention to this patient and to give detailed instructions to the patient and her family. While the doctor was giving his instructions, Miaojing had not yet hung up her phone call. Although Zai Yaowai's eyesight had deteriorated over the years, his hearing was still quite good. As such, Zai Yaowai had heard perfectly that Xiaonan was pregnant and that they would be welcoming a new life into their family. Although Zai Yaowai had never been as anxious as Miaojing had in the past, rushing Zai Sheng to get married, he had yearned for a grandchild in his heart too. Now that he was finally getting that grandchild after such a long time, Zai Yaowai was over the moon. If Zai Yaowai had been with his friends at this time, they would be puzzled as to why the old chief, who was always stoic and stern, was suddenly being so emotional. Meow meow. Zai Yaowai took a deep breath before calling out to Miaojing. Hearing Zai Yaowai's voice, Miaojing suddenly realized that she had not hung up the call. Did you hear what the doctor said? Miaojing was so emotional that she was on the verge of tears. She had never even been this emotional and moved even when she had gotten married to Zai Yaowai, gotten pregnant for the first time, or when she had given birth to Zai Hua. I heard it. Zai Yaowai's voice was a little shaky. As Zai Yaowai's closest kin, Miaojing knew from his tone that Zai Yaowai was equally overjoyed. Nan's pregnant, so we'll have to be more careful at home in the future. Hurry and hang up the phone. Phones have radiation. Didn't you say that there are clothes that are anti-radiation nowadays? Get Nan a few pieces of those clothes. Zai Yaowai had to admit that now that society had developed, every family's children were pampered with all sorts of things. Zai Yaowai had only heard his friends talk about radiation. Now that his daughter-in-law was pregnant, he would have to take note of that too. It was better to be safe than sorry. Of course, they would spare no expense for the sake of the child. Right. I'll hang up and switch my phone off. We can talk when we return home. The moment Miaojing heard that, the conversation was over. She did not even wait to end the call before switching off her phone. Then, she placed her phone securely in her bag. With these many layers of protection, Miaojing could finally rest assured. That's about it. The doctor felt rather stressed in front of Zai Sheng. It was Zai Sheng's first time being a father. As such, he took special care to remember everything that the doctor had said. All right, thank you. Nan was pregnant with his child. It had been 3 months. If he had not happened to return today, he might very well have missed out on this special moment. Xiaonan had been sent to the hospital because she had fainted, after all. As such, the Zai family treated Xiaonan like a fragile vase, specially protecting her from every side because she was pregnant. It felt so excessive that Xiaonan was feeling ill at ease. Mom, Brother Zai, you guys are exaggerating it. I'm fine. No wonder her mother-in-law and the auntie had said that she seemed to have lost weight while she felt that her pants had gotten tighter. It was because there was a new life growing inside her. As for the number of children inside her, Xiaonan had not asked about it. She decided to wait until the checkup in the 4th month. Then, the doctor would probably inform her about it without her needing to ask anyway. With such a blissful life, Xiaonan did not dare to dream of having the good fortune of giving birth to 3 adorable and intelligent children all at once, just like she had in her dream. Chapter 2070, Sensible. No matter what, the child in her stomach would be the apple of brother's eye in her eye. That won't do. We have to be careful. Miaojing insisted on it, leaving no room for negotiation. Have you forgotten why you were sent to the hospital today? Thankfully, the auntie was experienced. She had not used those products in such a long time that she had forgotten that women had such trouble every month before menopause. Although they had only found out about the baby 3 months later, they had found out about this good news, after all. Indeed, Zai Sheng and Nan Nan were a match made in heaven. This couple was truly soul mates. Nan Nan had married into the family less than 4 months ago, and she was already 3 months pregnant. Old Zai was right. Given how much Zai Sheng cherished Nan Nan, a honeymoon baby was nothing. They had conceived a baby on the first night of their marriage. In just 7 more months, Miaojing would finally meet that fragrant, chubby, and tender baby who would call her in that adorable baby voice. Just the thought of that made Miaojing want to leap up in joy. An accident. Xiaonan smiled bitterly. She did not usually fall sick, but the problem was that it was simply too hot. The capital was particularly sultry. Even an average person would feel sluggish and lethargic in summer. It was no big deal for a pregnant lady like her to feel slight discomfort or a little faint. What Xiaonan was thankful about was that it was almost the end of August. Although September still had warm temperatures, they could not compare with those of July and August. She was still studying and had to take her examinations. Pregnancy was nothing, but the double blow with the torturous heat had made that difference. Nan Nan, are you thirsty? The auntie was thirsty, so she asked Xiaonan how she was feeling. Shall I go get a few bottles of mineral water? It's better for you not to drink bottled juices. I'll make some freshly squeezed juices when we get home. I'm afraid that the commercially made ones have too many additives in them and won't be nutritious. Thinking about how Xiaonan was pregnant, the auntie thought that it was safest for Xiaonan to drink only mineral water. Miaojing nodded in agreement. That's right. Auntie is right. It's such a hot day. Nan Nan must be thirsty. Auntie, why don't you go get a few bottles of water? Look carefully at the labels before making your purchase. If they were to buy anything, they had to make sure that they were of good quality and suitable for pregnant women like Xiaonan. In short, they had to pay absolute attention to anything concerning Xiaonan. All right. Without Miaojing's reminder, the auntie would have done so anyway. The Zai family was finally welcoming a baby after such long anticipation. There was no way they could take any chances. If she did not take care of Xiaonan well now, she would be a criminal in the Zai family's eyes. As such, the auntie perked up and took care of Xiaonan the way she had taken care of her daughter-in-law after she had given birth to her grandson. The moment they returned home, they were surprised to find the fragrance of food wafting from the kitchen. The auntie did not think that she had lost her job but was curious as to who had whipped up the meal in her absence. It could not possibly have been the old chief, right? Zai Yaoai's food would not kill, but there was no way he could whip up such a delectable meal. Perhaps, that would have to wait until his next lifetime. But given how advanced society was today, not knowing how to cook did not mean not being able to eat delicious food. If one had money, a phone call would suffice. Zai Yaoai was capable of doing that, at the very least. I specially ordered these dishes because I heard that they're good for pregnant women. Zai Yaoai did not know anything about such things, so he made a call to his friends. Apart from the Zai family who was still without grandchildren, other families had gotten grandchildren more than 10 to 20 years ago. In fact, their grandchildren already had girlfriends of their own and were about to get married and give them great-grandchildren soon. As such, although Zai Yaoai had no experience in taking care of pregnant women, his old friends did have advice for him. Thanks, Dad. Hearing Zai Yaoai's words, Xiaonan knew that the Zai family had splurged on her by calling a whole table's worth of food for her and her baby. Normally, the Zai family would never do such an extravagant thing. Zai Yaowai coughed uncomfortably as his gaze moved toward Xiaonan's stomach. "We're a family. There's no need to thank me. You'll have it hard in this 1 year." Zai Yaowai had not forgotten that Xiaonan was already 40 this year. It was considered a geriatric pregnancy and they had to pay close attention to everything. Otherwise, both Xiaonan and the child would be in danger during childbirth. Since Xiaonan was already risking her life to give him a grandchild, Zai Yaowai felt that showing his care and concern in this manner was nothing at all. Xiaonan shook her head and smiled. "It's not hard at all. Because this was her child with brother Zai. No matter how hard it was, it would still be a pleasure. Don't just stand there. Nan Nan, you must be hungry, right? Let's go and eat. Remember to eat up." Knowing that she was about to become a grandma, Miao Jing felt as though she had grown 10 years younger and wanted very much to take Xiaonan over from the auntie to support her herself. Thankfully, Miao Jing had the self-awareness that Xiaonan would never allow herself to be supported by someone in her 70s, whether or not she was pregnant. If she were to do so, she might even frighten Xiaonan. As such, Miao Jing suppressed her impulse. Now, there was nothing more important than Xiaonan in the Zai family. Looking at the table full of dishes that were not only delicious but also nutritious, Miao Jing looked at Zai Yaowai appreciatively. "You're truly worthy of being a grandpa. You've performed well today. It's a pass." Zai Yaowai, who was being praised, was not especially pleased. He was already so advanced in age. If he did not even know to do this, could he still be a grandpa? He would be just as insensible as his grandchild otherwise. Without question, Xiaonan became the main focus of the entire family throughout the course of the meal. Thankfully, Zai Yaowai only showed his care and concern for Xiaonan through his gaze while Miao Jing only moved her mouth. As for serving Xiaonan, Zai Sheng was the only one who took on that responsibility. Throughout dinner, Zai Sheng seemed to be busy getting food for Xiaonan and feeding her while not eating his own meal at all. Xiaonan's heart ached to see Zai Sheng this way and wanted to get some food for him but was stopped by Miao Jing and Zai Sheng. Zai Sheng even said to her, "It's all right. I'm not hungry. Hurry and eat these."